Welcome back, guys. In this video I'm going to talk about why it's pointless to think that you know something about the world. People constantly come up with so many ideas or theories about the world, trying to figure it out, what might be happening behind the scenes. Undoubtedly, one of my favorite is the theory of the matrix, extensively discussed by Andrew Tate. He popularized it. I believe this theory for a long time, thinking that the world operates exactly how Andrew speaks about it. Then I started thinking and questioning, for example, if the matrix exists, what did it allow Andrew Tate to give such a big influence? What are the limits of the matrix? Everyone talks about how to make money online and how to make more money. This is how you can escape the matrix. However, they forget that money making is the foundation of the matrix. The whole system is built upon it. So when you start asking these questions, you question yourself. You begin to realize that word, and specifically this word, is much more complex than you can really imagine. When you reach a point of almost being confused, it means your vision is being so much clearer. When the puzzle pieces start to coming together, you realize that in reality, the more you think, the less you actually know. I don't know who was the philosopher will talk about it. I encourage you to live in this world where people are constant to try to influence each other with so much little tricks, infinite variations, like social media is one of the biggest of it, but just look around. And it's crucial to ask ourselves so much question, be able to question our own perspective and acquire critical thinking skills to reach a higher level in this world. Because you need to be able to see these things objectively. Look at every situation as it really is. With this, you will avoid many things. At this point, you will feel like you see the entire system because you can observe events around you without emotions. However, you forget crucial thing, thinking outside the box. So many successful people say, just think outside of the box. But what does this sentence actually mean? And how do I know if I'm really thinking outside this particular box? I had many questions in the past, and the truth is, I don't know the exact answers to these questions. Maybe there's an exact answer, however, I will share the version how I think about these questions. Thinking outside the box signifies continuous mindset shifts. If someone can understand another person's perspective, they are already thinking outside their own box. It might not sound very interesting, just thinking large scale, how this skill can influence more people. Imagine this skill used by many people or even the entire society is something with a big cooperation leverage. You can leverage this skill. It's like empathy, but it's more than empathy, I think. Because when you can see the other person exact vision, and when you can see the whole society and cultures and races and so much little colonies, powerful leaders' visions, it's an unbelievable skill. And just think about it like empathy, but it's not just about understanding how someone feels, but also understanding how they think. And that's the key point of this. Because this ability allows us to fully comprehend individuals or groups. Companies employ various psychologists to tailor so many advertisements to people, and they can increase sales. It's not rocket science. They use our psychology. And how can they use our psychology and the psychology in general? They think with empathy, but not just empathy. They also understand our thinking what we want. The trap of social media is so similar, but the key difference, there are no people constantly analyzing and observing us. But if the people make a dangerous algorithm, that algorithm can perfectly understand individuals within ours and use their own data to get more views, sales. And this is just a small part of the entire system. Everything you see and you observe is just a fraction of the whole. So when you see a successful person with a beautiful woman on Instagram, you are constantly influenced by others. In a day, you see hundreds of such images like that. And most often, you feel bad afterward, thinking you are the biggest loser in the world. However, I mentioned this is just a part of the whole social media. In this situation, you know nothing about the background of this person. And that's how they can manipulate you as they want. Because you don't know nothing. You just see a picture. But you don't know the background story behind it. Walk with your eyes open and dare to ask questions, because most people just believe what other people tells them, and they never try to question themselves. They never try to thinking about. Like there's a phrase that I heard from First Man. He speaks about that 99% of people are just followers. Only 1% are leaders. In this concept, just think about it. 99% of the people are just listening to other people's. They don't have own opinion. They say an opinion, but in most of the cases, that opinion is not there. It is not their opinion. They just heard from someone, from some influencer or some shit. That's why they just imitate other people's opinions and shit like that. They just repeat it because they not try to question themselves. They not try to think about these things. You can ask others, but in most cases, you can figure out things for yourself. Remember when you were a little child, constantly asking various questions to everyone and yourself. It didn't matter how silly the question were. The essence was that you learn more about the world through them, or you learn about the world with yourself. So don't be afraid of these things, because yeah, in some places you will fuck up. But if you don't question, you have no chance to figure it out the game, because it's a complex game. There's some tricks and methods and shit like that, but to understand the game and the whole system, it's nearly impossible, but someone can do it. Your brain develops faster when it's forced to constantly think. It's not enough for accept others people answers and word use. You don't need to consider whatever that person says is the reality. You need to question your own reality and the other person's reality. And you will quickly realize that many people are just constantly trying to easily deceive you. With this, they can create a significant online presence. Don't think that every people is your friend. Never think that. Never think that shit. In a lot of scenario, the peoples around you are your enemies. Not just in real life, but in social media. Especially in social media. Sometimes you think you have a lot of friends when you have a serious problem, or not even a serious one. You realize that you was too naive and you believe that everyone will help you. Don't believe that everyone wants you to help you. That never happened in the history, that every person wants to help you and every person wants to be your friend, even on social media. Just forget this shit. And I experienced this feeling and this experiment when I was 11 years old. And I played a video game with another guy for months. And once he asked me for something, he said if he had enough money in game, he will give back that item or that skin or some shit. As soon as I give him the item, he said, "Thanks, you fucking idiot." He just instantly deleted me from all platforms. That's when I learned that never believe the people around you, especially social media. Because I was emotionally attached by this guy. Because I think that at the time he was my friend, you know? I think that he was my friend. We played a lot of video games. I never realized, you know, and that's the trap of the modern world, that you fear that these people are your friends, but in reality they hate you. Because if he really was my friend, he just said me, just forget this video game shit, just forget it. I don't want to go play video games. And I remembered when I said to him, I don't want to play today or some shit, and he starts screaming at, why do you want to play? You need to play. But he said shit like that. I realized later that people are just animals in some way. You know, how can I say this? They want you to improve, but never go higher level than that, if this makes sense. That's just how this operates. And that's the only thing that I really learned from video games. The rest of the shit was brain damage and mental waste and time waste, countless of time waste. At the day I realized and I learned that I should never use the emotional part of my brain ever, especially when it comes to social media, as the whole system, every advertisement, everything is based on the emotional influencing. The moment you start thinking more rationally, the whole world becomes easy for you. Looking back, this is the only reason why video games worth it. That was the only reason. As I mentioned, experience, so young, so I can use it still nowadays. And I know I never need emotional connection. Oh, you need emotional connection, light emotional connection, but the connection between people need to be rational. When you start thinking more rational, you can do something. You will not be used by people, you know. They will try to use you, but they can't, because you use your brain. You rather want to lose friends than fuck up in life. And I think you need this mentality. There are many traps in this world, but nearly the best advice and the end that I can give you is to walk with open eyes and not let the emotions take control over you. It's impossible to prepare someone for the most effective maneuvering into this world. You can teach him something. You can't teach him to actually figure it out. The hundreds of traps that can ruin your life every single day. But when you understand that you need to think more logically, the life is gonna be easier. A simple example is video games. You can't imagine how many people ruin their entire life because of them. It's incredible. But I managed to quit playing video games I don't know how many years ago. I just use my rational part of my brain to quit. At the time I think that what I exactly doing when I do this shit. When I play video games with my friend, when I play Fortnite, I play all this shit. Hear another guy screaming at the microphone and in the other world. Is this really normal? Is this really normal? When you realize that shit, that you are just a part of the thousands of losers. You can't imagine how many of them. Some days I see my little brother playing and they play with, the guy was 20-year-old. He just screamed and said so many swearings to this little kid. And I was like, what the fuck? With little bit rationality, you can beat all these motherfuckers. You can beat them. You just crush them. Because they are losers. Everyone can talk shit. But when I quit the video games, I think exactly this sentence. There's no way in this world that these motherfuckers will make a fuck ton of money and profit from me. That's just a part of the world, and that's just a little part. That's just a industry. There are many things you can discover, but never believe that you actually know how the world exactly works.